What do you think is the most haunted place in the world?
The Conjuring house.
Yeah.
We spent a week there this last year, and it completely changed our lives. And I mean, we've been there now 3-4 times.
3 times, yeah, 3 times.
3 times.
Well, 4 times because we came back.
So we came back, and every single time it is by far the craziest experience. Every time.
What's the true story for people who have maybe seen the movie? I know it's not exactly 1-to-1.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's completely different than the movie, but like there was just generations of families that lived at this place called the Old Arnold Estate. I think it was deeded in like the 1800s sometime, I believe.
Yeah, and basically it was on the ground of one of the bloodiest, I think the bloodiest war per capita in the United States.
King Philip's War.
So tons of people died there. The land was just said because of that a whole lot of trauma. There wasn't, like in the movies, there's like this witch that curses everybody and attacks everything, whatever. That's not necessarily true.
Right.
But yeah, there's so many people that died there, generations and generations of people that died there, and then the Perrin family exorcism.
Yes.
Well, it was like a seance.
It was a seance, pretty much. They call it the exorcism, but like it was pretty much a seance. It was in the 1970s. If you've seen the Conjuring movies, the Perrin family is very prominent in that. And what really made it famous is there were these Pappin ghost hunters back in the day, or they're demonologists named Ed and Lorraine Warren. And so they came to the Rhode Island house to investigate it on Halloween night, did this seance where Carolyn Perrin who was the mom, and it was like a family of like 5, right? 5 or so people, levitated and like got flung across the room and was speaking in tongues and stuff like that. Yeah, basically she was possessed by something. We got the opportunity to interview Andrea Perrin, and she thinks that whatever medium was controlling the situation brought in something evil, trying to figure out why it was haunted, like opened up some sort of portal, and that's like what possessed her mother. But there's a bunch of different theories of like what dark energy could be there. And what we found out, not to spill the beans, is that like it's actually not a super, super dark energy at all in the house itself. There's a trickster in the basement who likes to play games on people, but it really is like less evil than everybody makes it out to be.
So it's not a dangerous house, you feel?
It's just incredibly active. And
I think the trickster could be dangerous if you got on his bad side.
There is a weird point in one of our videos that whatever was in the basement was telling us over and over and over again to come out to the woods alone, and wouldn't tell us why. And we asked all the staff and the owners and stuff, and they said, yeah, they tell us that all the time, but we are too afraid to actually go out into the woods alone at night, and we haven't tested it.
How do they tell you to go out in the woods alone?
So that's kind of backing up again. Did you see The Conjuring?
Yes.
Stuff? So
off
you know
and on,
the Cody and Satori method,
I
like
did.
the knocking.
Yeah.
So we basically had them go downstairs. Context for the people that haven't seen it. We met this couple that when they touch each other, in any it sounds so bad.
Touch each other's hands.
Wouldn't touch each other's hands or in any way, really.
They
If they make
embrace.
any contact in any way. It opens up some sort of like spiritual connection where you just hear knocking coming from everywhere, kind of like the Queen Mary
It
experience.
basically opens up whatever we had happen to us at the Queen Mary,
except
on command.
immediately.
It's, again, to what Jack was saying, it's something we've never seen before. We freaked out when we first saw it. We flew home. We told friends. Like, this is something we've never seen before.
And it was like if it were happening in this room, like you could hear it coming from the door walking over. It wasn't like in one spot.
That's the part that's weird, is that it's directional sound.
Yeah.
People
exactly.
like,
Yeah,
think
I
it's
heard
like
some of the
footsteps.
theories on that they said maybe it was their ankle like cracking, and they could crack that on command, or maybe they had like a little thing in their toe that they just would like put some pressure on, and there was something that would knock.
Right. And we saw all of that as well.
Yeah.
We even made a video like talking about everybody trying to debunk them and stuff.
Yeah.
As far as we know, we can't debunk it, but we also can't 1000% prove like this is real. I don't see how it can be popping joints, and that's just something that people are going to have to take my word for, because you could hear it everywhere.
Yeah, it's
it
like
wasn't in-
footsteps walking into a room, coming closer, louder. You can feel it on your feet.
And it can happen in different areas as well. Didn't
Outside.
you test this? You tested this outside.
We tested it
Everywhere.
outside, different parks, on concrete.
Do you test
on-
without shoes?
Yes.
Yes. And we're hopefully going to be able to like put out a video about that sometime in the future. We talked to Cody's story a lot about all these different things because it's
So
very controversial.
You did all of these debunking methods.
Yes.
And nothing.
and nothing convinced us that it was fake.
Who bought the Conjuring house?
It was a lady named Jacqueline Nunez. So there was a family called the Heinzens that lived there when we first went a couple times, and then
They lived in the house just
they
casually.
lived in the house, and the dad started getting like health issues living in the house. I'm not sure exactly what he had, and so they ended up moving away to deal with his health. And
They still are a big part of it.
Yeah.
They-
Okay.
like the kids like still work
Now,
there.
were the health issues to do with the house, or this is just they think, it's just like, hey, maybe old age, something happened.
I don't even
Okay.
know what he has,
Yeah,
but
don't want to speak on his behalf.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, fair.
I mean, you could say so,
Yeah.
but I don't think so.
Okay.
But yeah, then like a lady named Jacqueline Nunez like moved in, and I don't know her background really, but she was just super into like spiritualism, and knew that this house had something, or she claims that it has something very special. Like the entire property is
Yeah.
like a giant portal.
Did she buy it before the movie came out?
No.
way
She
after.
just bought it like a year and a half ago. All the movies happened like a decade ago.
But I feel like that would have to be like a really expensive sale, right?
Yeah.
Like,
We
like,
actually
we,
it's
were,
bought it.
we were trying to buy it.
you were actually trying to buy the house.
So-
What was the process like of like buying the Conjuring house?
Well, so we did our 2 Conjuring videos in 2021, and they were our biggest thing that ever happened to our channel. And then we, we're decently close with the family that owned it at that time because we talked back and forth about planning these videos. And they told us, this is going up for sale, and we're like,
Dude, you
we
had to
have to
bought
do
that.
this.
Yes.
Logistically, it did not work out. What the house was valued versus what they were asking for is just. It wasn't going to be
The
a
value
good
is-
financial.
The value is priceless for that house. Can I ask how much they were asking?
I mean,
And I'm sure we could just look it up.
yeah, it was valued at like 350,000, but
Okay.
they were asking for $1 million, I think, and it actually got sold by 1.4.
Yeah,
by
I think Jacqueline bought it for
It-
1.4.
That makes sense. You can't look at that house as just what is a house from the 1700s valued at on this land.
Right.
Worthless, you know?
Exactly.
But
It's
land
the
value.
name, the
But it's the
branding,
lore,
everything.
yeah.
But it's that. And the fact when I looked at the prices, how much they're charging every single night and how many people they
It's
can have
definitely a
come through the
business,
house.
for sure.
On a $1.4 million investment, I bet she's making her money back within about 2 years.
for sure, which is
And
like
owning a very one of the most notable houses. Besides,
for
maybe
sure.
there's that Home Alone house, the Brady Bunch house. I mean, there's
In terms
very
of like
few houses
haunted
like that.
houses, that's the most famous in the United States, for sure.
Absolutely,
Maybe
sure.
in the world.
yeah.
Which
like,
I think it's like smart to point out that like, for all the skeptics out there, like that's a huge reason everybody's like, oh, it's a business. Like, of course they're gonna say like the woods is the most haunted and stuff, and they're just like starting
Yes,
campsites out there.
sure.
And, it's like that was a big red flag for a lot of people, which I can totally see. It's
Yeah,
a business.
It makes sense. Like a lot of these things that people are skeptical about, which we understand.
Yeah, I think. Well, first of all, I don't know if someone would feel comfortable just moving in and living in the house.
Yeah.
I don't think
But
anybody
I'm also-
lives
Single
there
family.
now. Does anybody live there?
No.
I think they have trailers outside, and that's the closest.
Yeah, I've seen they charge for like camping, like glamping outside, or you could
Yeah.
spend like a Friday there or something like that.
Yeah.
But looking at the prices, it made me very curious to want to go and experience that and
Dude,
check it out.
yeah.
You should. I don't know
definitely.
if you've ever done anything like
I've never done anything like this before.
Yeah.
I would be very curious. Now I probably get scared easily,
but
but
there's
seeing
a
that
life
thought,
experience.
what an incredible experience to be able to go and like and try something new like that.
Yeah. As long as you're open minded to it, like
I am.
It's
I'm
a
extremely,
fun experience.
Yeah.
Even if let's say nothing happens, you're still having this experience, learning a bunch of history, have a fun night with friends. Like that's what I tell people all the time. A lot of stuff doesn't happen. There's many videos we've scrapped. There's some videos that just don't do nearly as crazy as everything else, but it's still a good time.
Is there any experience that truly scared you?
yes, actually going back to like that first train of thought we had,
Yeah.
like 10 minutes ago or whatever, the basement, we brought Cody and Satori down, right? And before this, like we had a couple days where we were just talking to basically the matriarch of the house named Abigail Arnold, who was like the family, couple families before the parents, like the Arnold estate is what it was called. Abigail Arnold, we would talk to her. She was awesome, super sweet old lady. But in the basement, there was something more like the trickster, something more like negative. I wouldn't say sinister or evil, but like something more negative for sure. Just like to play jokes on people. And the only thing, first of all, before I get into what it said, like the taps that were being made sounded different down there as well, which is also why I don't think it's like cracking of the joints. It's because like we were upstairs on wood and it would sound different, and then downstairs it was all concrete and you could hear it like it was tapping on the like concrete or whatever. So you could hear the visible like the differences between both of it.
Yeah, for context on that too, like everywhere we took them, we took them a bunch of different places, different floors in the house, but also on gravel,
Everywhere.
on like a wooden floor, on concrete. They all did sound different in person.
But like what it would say is it was super vague about everything. Like, and all it would want us to do is it just said, come to the woods. Come to the woods. And we were like, why? It would be like, find out. Like, do it. I just thought that was the scariest thing.
And then we're
of
like,
all time.
where? And it was like over the bridge. We're like, what? And then we're like, who do you want to come out? Didn't it say like alone?
Alone or yes, I
Something
don't
like
know.
that. I don't know. It was scary. And then over and over and over, we're like, why? It's like, find out. It's like, oh God, it's so scary.
But was there any point where you felt in danger for your life?
No, not for our lives really. But I did not want to, like off camera that night, Sam and I talked for like 4 hours and I was just like, dude, we are living in a movie right now. Like we can't go to the woods. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like this isn't just a YouTube video anymore. Like there was something evil in the basement that just said, or something negative in the basement that just said like, do not go to the woods. Like we can't do this.
Yeah.
But we did anyways for the content.
Are you ever nervous that being around so many spirits all the time, you're like bringing some essence of something with you?
Yeah, that's what I'd be worried about, like some negative thing like
Like,
latching on to
I've
you.
been
Like
hanging out with
following
you guys a little bit, right? I'm nervous about
But isn't that
what
good for
presence
content?
is. That's true.
Well, you know what's interesting? And not trying to throw Sam under the bus really quick, but it's just funny as fuck. Every animal that we meet like hates Sam.
Dude.
Every small
Every
animal.
animal?
Like, it's just my...
Bailey liked you.
Bailey liked him a
yeah,
little
that's
bit.
Bailey likes anything now. So not to discredit Sam or
Yeah.
anything.
No, it's insane. There's so many animals that we look at, like, oh, Colby, and look at me, they're so scared. Their tails go down. It's like, oh God, what's happening? But at the end of the day, that aligns with the same questions I've had this in my entire life. If something were to attach itself to me, or I do have this weird essence, or something does happen to me, or maybe I am scared of my life, that would give me hope. So like, even if it's a negative thing, like, to be honest, if this happens, maybe I'll have a different perspective on it. But if I get levitated and thrown up against the wall, that would be the greatest day of my life. Because
That'd be insane.
yes, it would be scary, but that would 1,000% prove it to me that all this stuff is real. So I kind of want to be like,
Thrown around a little bit.
you know?
Tossed
Hey,
up.
don't clip that shit, but
Excuse me.
Yeah.
you know, I just think it'd be interesting.